So this right here is a fairly interesting machine I recently picked up. This is an IBM Intellistation Power model 275, and it's basically a workstation. However, in terms of hardware, it feels more like a server with video and sound hardware in it, and it's easy to see why, considering how this machine is huge and it weighs nearly 100 pounds. Now, the front panel is missing from this machine. I mean front cover, but the front cover has the IBM branding on this machine. And on some of the other IBM Intellistation Power 275s I've seen, the branding is actually on this panel right here. So it doesn't just look blank. It actually says IBM Intellistation Power 275. Well, without the 275 part, because the 275 part's up here, but anyways, let's take a look at the bottom of this machine. Now, right here are 4 hard drive bays that are hot swappable, and they take Ultra 320 drives in this special caddy. And I had to seek out this specific FRU number to get a drive with a caddy in it. And down here this is a spacer where you could put an additional backplane and have 4 more hard drives go in here. But as you can see here, this is a proprietary connector which is designed only for these IBM drives. And as you can see here, I can't just put a normal Ultra 320 drive in, it has to be in the caddy. Now, these are basically generic laptop CD and floppy drives. They seem to be from ThinkPads, and they currently have power to them, so I can eject them and close it while it's on. The floppy drive too. However, you probably aren't using the floppy drive much on one of these systems, and I think this exists mainly for older software that came on floppies, so you can install it on this newer Intellistation Power 275. So you got the floppy here, you got the CD drive here, and both of them are slanted just like ones from ThinkPads are. And up here is the most interesting part of the front of the machine. Now, this is the front panel, and as you can see here, this has the model number 9114-275, and it also has a power switch which turns on and off the machine, and a reset switch which resets the machine and is yellow, so you know that it's a reset switch. And if you push it while the OS is running, it will actually do a dump, so you can basically figure out what caused the system to lock up, similar to the TOC button on HP 9000s. Now, I had to remove this piece of plastic from the hard drive caddy I got to allow the drive to fit. It was held in with a screw. But once I removed that, I was able to mount the drive and basically install the OS. So right here is the front control panel of the system, and as you can see, it says OK. I'm actually going to try zooming in, and as you can tell, it says OK. When you turn on the machine, the system will, when you plug in the machine and give the machine power, it will do some tests before giving you the OK to turn on the machine. And right now it's in that state where it's OK to turn on the machine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the machine. And as you can tell, the power light started blinking faster. This means that the system is now doing its initial self-tests after it's done the OK tests and before it starts to actually bring up the system like it's doing now. It just spun up the fans, and this hard drive just spun up too. So I'm going to focus this again. And right now it's displaying boot codes. Now, keep in mind, this isn't actually a true x86 system at all. This is not an x86 system whatsoever. And as you can see, the power light is now on. This is not a true x86 system at all. This is actually an IBM server with power hardware in it, as this has a POWER4 CPU at 1 GHz and 2 gigs of RAM. And this is actually based on the RS6000, also known as P series, also known as System P, also known as Power Systems architecture. This is based on those systems. And perhaps the closest system to this that was sold for the consumer market would probably be the Power Macintosh line of computers. And I actually have a 7200 120 PC compatible with an IBM Power PC 601 processor in it, and not a POWER4. So this system is currently doing its self-tests, and it's currently trying to test what's in here and get the OS booted. Now this is an interesting system too because of how the system's set up. This system actually has a management card inside the system. It's not just a regular old PC. It has a management card with the PS2 ports on it, the serial ports, and I think maybe a few other ports on there, which is actually its own little management computer on this system. And that card is there so the system can boot up, do all that stuff, because like I said, this is not a normal PC. This is closer to that of an Intellistation. This is closer to that of an RS6000, because it technically is an RS6000. Now I got this system from a scrap pile of systems that were going to be junked, and I decided I've wanted an RS6000 for some time now, so decided I'd take this home and try to see if I could get this working. And it's a very interesting system to have fun with. Now, an interesting part about the system is that on the side panel here and on the front panel that is missing, there's actually noise dampering. So that, let's just say, if you're using the system in an office setting, writing code, running specialized programs, it would not have lots of noise like some machines do. Like if you've ever used an HP server, you'd know what I mean. Like the integrity servers, those things are loud. Same with just about any old server, really. This, on the other hand, is noise dampered. So if you're a hobbyist wanting to run an AIX system, these Intellistations would be great fits for that role. Because here's the thing, they are not noisy at all because of the noise dampering. And even with the front noise thing missing, it's still fairly silent. So the keyboard's initialized, and so has the mouse. So it's getting closer to finally being booted up. And it's still doing its checks. That's why I decided to talk about this system while I did these boot up checks before I turned it on, instead of, doing that, because here's the thing, this system takes a long time to boot. Okay? This is one of the longest booting systems I've seen. And I've seen HP 9000s, I've seen Integrities, I've seen Suns, SGIs. Those don't take as long to boot for a single processor system. They don't take long to boot, but this does. And that's probably my main complaint with this system, but this also adds to the appeal of this, because it makes it feel less like a boring old workstation and more like this mystical big black IBM box. Because, and the thing is, using this machine kind of feels like a mix between an IBM and a UNIX box. And another thing about this machine too is that the machine has lots of metal shielding in it, and yeah, it's finally booting. I'm going to push 1 to get into the SMS menu to show you what it's like. But as you can see, there's the IBM eServer splash screen. It says eServer because, this is technically a P series. So, you can select the console, select boot options, as in choosing what OS you want to boot into. Like, let me hit 7. C, select installer, boot device, configure order, multi-boot startup off. And so you can view the error log. No errors logged. I don't know why the warning light is on the system anyways. Let's go to main menu. And I'm going to go to X to exit, yes. And now let's boot the system up. It says starting software, please wait. Now, this system runs AIX, which is IBM's own Unix, and this is backwards compatible with basically the older versions for the RS6000 or for the RS6000 and other older systems that had Power, PC, 60 whatevers, Powers like the original ones, and of course the RS64. This is backwards compatible for the most part with these older systems. So as you can see, it says welcome to AIX, 1 processor, 2 gigs. And the hard drive light down here is flashing. So it is booting the system up. And it says boot device there too, because this actually has open firmware, kind of like PowerPC Max. Now AIX, uniquely enough, starts up X11 and CDE, which is the desktop that many older Unixes used, early on in the boot process. Now I think this has something to do with my video card not liking widescreen monitors, but as you can see, the AIX logo is pretty glitchy here, giving it that glitch aesthetic Tumblr page thing. Now it seems to go away after I leave the monitor off, so I think it's just my monitor having issues with the video signal, but you can actually scroll through and the progress of the boot here on the side. And it's booting itself up. Now here's one interesting thing. The error codes here. AIX produces error codes for every single error you see, so that you can look it up or tell IBM support. And this system does have fairly good documentation for what it is. So as you can tell, the system is booting up right now. And it actually displays it in a corner on the screen, like this. Which is very interesting, considering how commercial Unix usually has a text boot up screen like HPUX or IRIX. And IRIX doesn't tell you much though, unlike AIX. So welcome to IBM 275. I'm going to log in as root because I just set this system up. Starting the common desktop environment. Now this right here is CDE. And CDE is the Unix desktop that just about every old Unix system has. And you get the basics. You get the calculator here. It can do math. You can do math on this expensive power chip. You can open up terminal. You can open up a text editor and edit files, which you might want to do because the only other text editor you get by default on AIX is VI. And of course, you can also open up man page info. So for example, you can open up man for VI, figure out how to use it. There's also the other CDE utilities here like calendar, file manager, which lets you find out like all the files on the system, of course. And of course, let's open up this. And I'm going to open up one more window, the programs. You can open up SMIT, which is basically AIX's management utility, kind of like SAM on HPUX, and you can find out info about the system, like devices. Multimedia, I can get error reports and diagnostics for all this. And of course, a running command, which actually shows a running man in here, and it displays a different icon if it fails. So as you can tell, this is a GXT 4500P, which is an IBM video card, and it was actually used in some of the Fire GL cards as well, or at least the same chipset was. Here's the best part about CDE, these epic screensavers. And of course they're on UNIX, just about every UNIX really. Don't know why that didn't save. Let's try this again. Okay. There we go. Check out these nice screensavers on AIX. Of course it says display locked by user root. So now that I've unlocked the system, of course you can also hear the beeps. So this is CDE, and if you've used UNIX, it's the same thing. And of course it's also available on Linux now. However, I'm going to go to command line login, and here's what's interesting about the command line in AIX. Suspending desktop login. Look at that good old hacker green on black text, which makes you feel like elite hacker. So there you have it. AIX version 7.1 on this Intellistation Power 275. Very interesting machine, and I'm probably going to end up installing more programs like Firefox, some Linux utilities like Nano, Bash, because right now it's KSH. And one more thing, let's enter random stuff in. As you can tell, this is AIX, and it's KSH, not Bash. It's not Bash whatsoever, it's KSH. So if you're expecting Bash, you're not going to get that without manually installing it. But there you have it. AIX 7 on an Intellistation Power. Very interesting machine to have. I'll probably do some fun stuff with this machine, like maybe running some games on it by recompiling them. I mean, I know Quake 1 and 2 are already on here, so this will be fun. I mean, it's like having a server with the power chip in it, but with video hardware and sound hardware. So all in all, this is fun. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more.